Mostly.
Sort of her purpose is connected to her worthiness, but she's still also figuring out her purpose, I feel like, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think she doesn't fully know what her purpose is. You know, which is kind of hard to play a character like that, but I feel like it's extremely relatable because I feel like a lot of people don't really know that. And I want to sort of find out what that is for her in this journey.
That would be so sick if you could get your wing back.
That would be cool. Yeah, because I remember that it happened once before in a dream, where it was like, it did, where like a couple feathers popped out, and I was like, oh, okay, it's just a dream. And then with this, same thing, but I mean, you just never know with Matt.
That's for sure. Fuck it, you know.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a shirt.
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited about that possibility because I never thought it would be one.
Yeah. But fuck what you know could kind of have a double meaning too. I guess.
Fuck what you know.
Fuck what you know.
Travis. Angela Mondragon wants to know. Knowing there was still unfinished business with. Did Ford have any trepidation about being on the sea? Were you, as a player, expecting this, or did Matt blindside you?
No, I'm a fucking moron.
I guess, yeah, we kind of know the answer to that.
I didn't think about it at all. People are like, how the fuck did you not think the first time you went back on the sea, Uk'otoa is coming correct? Well, I didn't. I'm sorry.
We went to Disneyland the next morning, right? It was the next morning.
Yeah.
Disneyland the next morning. I was like, hey man, nope. And I was like, oh no.
I thought, like, you know, there'll be some RP and we'll get out there and there'll be this deal that happens and I don't really know what's gonna happen next. You know, maybe I'll have to check on some elements for my backstory.
You thought for sure you'd be able to see it coming.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything that the old snake wants anymore.
Yes, you do.
Well, I didn't know that.
Read your
I didn't
inventory.
MRI. I didn't know I had a grapefruit in my chest anymore.
Does D&D Beyond have an inner body inventory part they should add? Adam, if you're watching.
No, and I don't know if I missed some subtle clue or if it was just outright said, which is entirely possible with me this campaign, but I didn't pick up on anything that said that I still had that orb inside of me. I just figured since he used the sword to sort of close the keyhole the first time, that was where the orbs were kept, was in the manifestation of the sword. So I was like, oh great, sword lava, done. I didn't think it was like sword is done, but you know.
The dark seed of power within you that the Wild Mother said.
Well, I thought it was like a that's so metaphorical. I just thought it was like a scar. Well, now you say it like that. Fuck.
That's amazing.
Campaign 1.
You mean?
Yeah, campaign 1, Travis plays a dumb character. Campaign 2, Travis plays a dumb player.
You know, the distinction is subtle, but
I'm so curious.
I don't know, but it will be smart.
I do love your, I think this is the first time in person that I've seen your sailing guide. You pulled it out. I'm just looking through it.
You know, I know a lot of that stuff in like relaxed conversation, but the second someone asks you under pressure, just blank slate.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing. Got nothing. Windward, all of it just gone. Out.
It was interesting, you didn't have, I know when you're upset, I always know when you're upset.
Thank you, Brian.
But I can tell when you kind of just check out and you're just like, F this? No, I said F this. You know, how's the podcast going, right? Are we good still?
I'm so
All right.
You know what? F this crap.
Well, I didn't want to offend Jeremy Irons. Yeah,
I
he's
don't know if he's coming out yet.
sir. Is he a sir? Jeremy Irons? Let's look into it. I should know before we bring him out.
I think King Jeremy Irons.
My goodness.
Yeah, it's been for sure.
King Irons. But you weren't.
I don't think so.
Okay. You weren't upset. Like you were
The
just
Angel
sort
of
of.
Irons.
You.
Angel of Death.
Oh, boy.
No.
What did you smoke before the show? And can I get a pound?
No, I was definitely not upset at all.
Yeah.
More than anything, I was just trying to plan my branch narrative for whatever was going to happen next, and just try and figure out what the fuck I was going to do with the 10 AC, and needing to stay at range and line of sight, and how do I, and how many people are coming on this ship? It was, and more than anything, it became clear that they had just massive intent to come and kill me, not like take over the ship or kill the crew or any of those things. And I mean, Matt played it beautifully. So even in moments where I was disappointed with myself, like forgetting that enemy or enemy characters can hold their turns, we're so used to hearing it out loud, right? Like the player character be like, I hold my turn until I see blah. So you're clocking it. So when he was just like, you see him look around and survey the area, and then he just waits. I was like, oh, great. He doesn't see me. I'm gonna stand up. He's not saying it out loud. And you gotta have that reminder that they can hold their turn. That was a doozy.
Because that's the sneaky one. He doesn't have to tell us for it. He's holding the turn for it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
If you see, like, if he was like, he holds his turn, I'd be like, oh, well, I'm just gonna fucking lay right here in this pillow trove that Caduceus has made in this bird's nest.
Literal pillow trove.
Hang out.
Oh man, hey, have you come up with a name for that dog yet?
I'm thinking, I think that it's a girl, and I think I'm gonna name her Sally after Sully.
Oh, I love it.
That's really sweet. Candy, don't hit us with it. Always.
Oh, Sally. Her name is Sally.
That's amazing. He just looked up like, I like it.
Oh,
Likes it.
yay.
He's like, oh, my really?
Do you know what else Henry loves? Costume.
Hey.
It's
I always
very
think about
good.
The scissors are right there in the bud. Speaking of scissors in the bud, our winner for this week was sent in by Jeff Ming. Ming of Mings on Instagram. Photo by Arcelos on Instagram. Makeup by OMG Lobe Nunu on Instagram. Let's take a look.
OMG Lobe.
Whoa.
Thought it was
Saw this
Come
guy.
on, that's so good.
He's got the accurate representation of Ford's pit hair. Perfect.
I love how the cape.
The cape flip is just so good.
The
in line with-
detail on the armor is hot.
Yeah, that is really detailed.
Yep.
Wow.
That's
Great job.
gorgeous.
That armor. Oh my gosh. That is so cool.
Yeah, nice, Jeff.
Well, congratulations to you, Jeff. Yeah, we should clap more on the show.
Yeah.
As I've said before, we have a live studio audience. They're just
Terrified.
terrified. Congrats to you, Jeff. You have won this Paduk tabletop tray. Now, this is not only one of the best and most exotic looking, but it's also one of the best smelling.
It's also the color of his leather armor.
It's also the color of his.
Oh, yeah.
Congratulations.
How appropriate.
Remember, you can enter our weekly contest by visiting critroll.com. Now, you can't if they're in Quebec, unfortunately, because they're not allowed to see the show. No, the show's blacked out. Critroll.com. It was a little bit special, so I had to give Zach a little bit of time. The rules for our contests are available at critroll.com.
Oof, who did that?
On.
Hold up the sleeve.
Who did that?
Who did it?
Zach!
Yep.
I love it.
Oh, Matt Shapiro made it? Matt Shapiro made it.
What's that?
I believe that was some sort of a mustache guitar. It was
His Slash's guitar.
Oh,
Keith.
I thought
Travis, count for yourself with an answer to this question. It's from Bo Lavorigard. Whoa, pretty good. As a player, what was the most impactful moment for you during that last fight? The dream, the fight itself, your friends' reactions, or something else? What really hit you the hardest?
the dream was short, and I still don't fully understand what it meant, because it came off of Yasha's, and he was walking through the woods, and he drew the sword, and the summoning of the sword is what triggered, or not triggered, but at that moment is when the sword of fathoms plunged into his chest. So it wasn't the sword, and I think that, There were a couple times where like the play leads itself to a pretty cool moment, and being able to jump off the main mast, cast Hexblade's Curse, and then far step up onto the crow's nest was awesome. Sometimes it doesn't work out. Yeah. And I thought I had, line of sight covered up there, and I was like, I'll just stay up here until we chop the mast down. So I think that was pretty heavy. But I think really the thing that hit me the most was when, what were they called? Like sea people?
Deep Scions.
Deep Scions,
And
yeah.
then,
I used to drive one of those.
Something else.
Watch out, the part of the trunk always comes off. You pull it.
Oh, I know. I left mine in Bakersfield.
When it came over and was like, it grabs Ford's body and starts to walk him off the side of the ship, I was like, Mercer, what the fuck, man? I'm already dead. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Give me a second. So that really, I think it was an escalation. Obviously, dying is a pretty big deal, but having pretty good company, you're like, okay, it's still manageable. But I mean, he was about to just hop off and go anywhere in the deep blue sea.
What would have happened if we didn't?
Have his body?
I've thought about it. Like, a couple people can polymorph.
Make a deal with the mermaids. They'll go get it back
Yeah,
for you.
that's what I probably-
Mermaids can be bought for, probably like 6 or 7 princes and maybe a couple of farm boys.
Sure.
Everybody knows it. Danny, I mean, why are they looking at me like I'm fucking
can't
crazy?
corroborate the statement, but it sounds right.
Kyle, you're a part of the same mermaid Facebook groups that I am.
Mermaids are real.
Yeah, we haven't done a resurrection in this campaign. We've only done a revivify.
Are you the only one who can cast breathing underwater on everybody?
I think so.
We'd have to like polymorph into an animal and then like tail them to a location and then come back. Yeah, it would have been.
That would have been
No
Surely
way.
you don't think Matt was planning to take his body and just...
Yeah. I think he was 100%.
I think he was a little disappointed, but again impressed by the gameplay and also the roll of the dice when he wasn't allowed to take Ford's body off the ship. I think he was going hard for it. He walked up and
I do too.
like the number of times where an enemy will leave an unconscious PC and face the rest of the group instead of like racking up those death saves happens quite frequently, but he just was like, yep,
Yeah.
They were
Yeah.
fucking coming for you.
they were coming.
Yeah.
They were
What was
coming.
that moment like when both death saves? Well, what went through your head at that moment?
That
It's
was
like,
very stressful at
that
the table for everybody,
sucked.
but I can't imagine that.
Marisha's face was pretty good.
That wasn't the stressful part, because it's not in that moment where it's like the stress hits. It was like, what am I missing?
Yeah.
Why is he doing that?
Yeah.
Where is this going? Because then it's like, I didn't just get hit by some waylaid spell or whatever. Like, there's intent here, and I don't think it's done. So what happens next? And sure enough, like, he's coming for the body, and I'm like, oh, well then all bets are off. If he takes my body, like, it's a very small percentage for success.
You don't think they would have just taken the orb and left your shitty ass body on
Turned the dimension door away.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
still,
Yeah,
but
I mean,
at the last second, grab the orb and then door.
I can't forget the clutch counter spell.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Liam.
That saved the
That was
day.
sick.
Otherwise,
Caleb saved your ass.
Was it a 7? Didn't he roll a 17? Is what he had to roll or something like that? He had like the exact
he rolled
number.
17.
yeah, he's 17.
Something like that.
Stressful. That was stressful. That was clutch though.
That was
It was
very
huge.
clutch.
It was huge.
But yeah,
It was like Sam's
Ford
count.
would be done if he didn't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Falling off the clothes. I mean, even looking back at it, I was pretty happy with the way that it played out. Being baited by Matt, which he did brilliantly, was the only thing I wish I had just been a little wiser about. But I still was really happy with the way that it
Well,
worked.
he did it with Avantika too. And you walked right into that.
I fall for much everything.
Ashley,
Yes.
sorry, we forgot you were here. Yanking my vagine wants to know.
Oh my! How? That's great. Good.
Always a privilege. Thank you for submitting a question. Yasha seems to believe that she is unworthy of love. We were talking about this a little bit earlier, and she has had a difficult time accepting any compliments. How has it affected her recently to have Bo call her beautiful, as well as having both Bo and Jester show genuine care for her well-being? Yeah, it has been interesting.
Yeah. I think, for a lot of people, sometimes accepting compliments makes you uncomfortable. I think I'm kind of one of those people. You know, it's like, okay. But I think it's, I don't know. I think it's a weird thing for Yasha to hear, because it's you know, even in her tribe, it's not like that was a normal way of communicating with each other. And you know, I think only sort of compliments that she would have gotten about maybe the way she looks or how she is as a person or her character were probably from Zuala. So I think it's a...
How'd she take those?
Well, they got married.
Yeah, but I mean, still though, you can
Yeah,
still, it can still be hard, even if it's from someone that you're with. You know, when you often tell me, which is usually every morning and afternoon or evening, whenever there's a costume change, I change clothes a lot. You will often say, "No, that's nice." You know?
That's a good one. Yeah.
That rolling clothes rack is that always goes with
It's all
Brian.
of his clothes.
That's Jerry with my rolling rack of clothes.
Yeah, it's also Brian.
Anyway, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's...
She was used to compliments from Zuala, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know used to, if that's the thing. I think it's, you know, for anybody, you might just be one of those people who's just always uncomfortable with them. And I think she's just not used to it. But I think, you know, especially with Jester, she's such an open character that's just has so much love to give and is just so, you know, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and just like so just refreshing to be around. I think it's sort of, they're all teaching Yasha very, very positive ways to feel and accept that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really good.
So,
Really special.
oh.
Except for Ford, he's fucking dead now. He ain't contributing shit.
Too soon. There it
The first one.
Kyle, we made it 40 minutes. I think Kyle just won $500 in a bet at the office here.
Deadpool.
Kelly Jewel has a question for both of you. Yasha falling, but then flying back up once she embraced her god, paralleled beautifully with Ford teleporting up to the crow's nest to run away from his old god, only to fall back down. How does it feel when your improvised RP sessions create poetry?
Yeah.
That is...
Kelly Jewel makes great videos on YouTube, by the way.
I totally considered that beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, the fact that it's improvised poetry means you can't really take credit for it. It's not what she's asking. She's not asking you to be an egotistical.
Yeah, I can't take credit. That goes to the writers.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I don't think we can, I mean, I
They
feel
say
like...
thank you. Yeah, they say thank you, except for one of them who says, go Eagles.
No food and water for that one.
Okay, understood. No food and water for Maxwell.
So much of the descriptions and the, you know, especially with the dream sequences, so much of that is Matt, and he's such a masterful storyteller. But yeah, that was a weird parallel, but I mean,
It's always
unintended.
It's such a gift too, because I mean he's giving you something new in the story that you've created, and so you have instant ownership of this thing that he made just for you, especially when it's like a one-on-one.
Yeah.
Right, like he's giving you, it's like an upgrade every time. So it deepens your backstory, it adds another layer to your character, and half the time you're just kind of looking at the new thing and going like, wow, this is really cool. Like, how am I gonna use it? Right? But you're also trying to like stay connected with him, and it's kind of wild. You really don't even appreciate it until later most times.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just hope you can meet him where he's at.
Yeah.
I always have that feeling of like, I hope I can, you know, meet you where you're at. What you're giving me right now is gold.
Matt is not, he's never really disappointed in you guys. He's not disappointed in you guys in the game. Now outside the game,
Yeah.
it's a wild west of actions. But you know what I mean? Like he always, because even if you feel like you're doing terrible at what you're doing, that's still something that he's so smart. He uses and he helps. Like he even sort of finds ways to tutorialize you guys after all this time, which I find interesting to see him slip that stuff in. I have a logistical question. When the map came out, you realized the battle was going to actually happen in that episode because it was later into the evening.
Right.
Did you think right before that, like, okay, well, I have a feeling it's stop here, and then I'll have a week to kind of figure out what I'm going to do, and then when he brings out the map, it's real, it's actually happening, or
Because it was post break, and it was like 30 or 40 minutes past the break.
Yeah.
And well, we were in Dream, so I thought we were getting into like the story part of it, but when the stabbing happened, I was like, are we still in the Dream? We're not? And then he brought out the boat, and I was like, shit. Well, it's just one guy. This won't be bad. And then it was like, you see, I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
The captain's quarters.
Yep.
I think once he brought the other guys out, I was like, oh yeah, we're not stopping. It's happening tonight.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just like the first time Travis and I went to Thunder Down Under in Las Vegas, Mac just kept bringing out more guys.
Oh,
It's a very regional specific show. Thunder Down Under is a show. It's like Chippendale, but only Australian guys. Except in Las Vegas, I don't think any of them were Australian.
so then you're just like, why is it called this?
Yeah. Why is it called
They all have to do amazing Australian accents.
One of my
Down under.
roommates was in the show, and he had the worst Australian accent.
So they still have to do Australian accents?
Well, when they get up close to the ladies and they have to, I can't talk about it. We have to, so many questions we have to get to.
I have so many
I can't believe you're bothering me with Wally West wants to know, Ashley, Yasha is continuing to play her harp more and prioritize it as a method of self-care at the end of her day out. Can you share a little bit about how it feels for her to have this gentle and safe outlet for some of her pain and emotion?
Sure. So, music is a very huge part of my life. And
For people who don't know, you're an amazing singer. You play guitar well. You write songs amazingly well. You sing other people's songs amazingly well.
well, that's really nice to say.
You've written everything that I've put out.
That's not true. Yeah, I just think music across the board can be very. I'm using the harp as, yes, for self-care for her, but also I think music can be a form of therapy. So, you know, and there was a moment where I was like, man, it'd be so fun to multi-class as a bard. But then I remembered my wisdom is so low.
That's right. Yeah,
So
that's
it
right.
just, I wouldn't be able to, it wouldn't work. And I talked to Matt about it. He's like, there's more that I want to explore with that, and I don't quite know what it is yet, but I think where it sits right now, I think it's just, it's a form of therapy for her, you know, and it's obviously like we're not gonna go to like therapists in the game because
Be interesting.
crossing a weird line, I feel like.
That would be like, oh shit, we're making this
Yeah, I
thing.
feel
Okay.
It
like,
has to be in real time. It's 55 minutes in the game.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
everyone else feel free to grab a
Yeah.
snack.
That's
or,
our time.
Yeah. But I've been wanting to give her, you know, sort of positive things for her to do to sort of try to pull her out of this place that she's in. And I think it's really helpful. Because I think music and playing music and it's just as important to me. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
How's the shooting the new season of Fargo going?
Very well.
Well, you know.
Good job. That's a compliment, though.
It is. Travis, Meg Writes Things wants to know.
Yes, sir.
The Falchion was something that used to make Ford feel special and unique. Did seeing it wielded by others drive home how manipulative and self-interested Ukitone always was?
Yeah, great question.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think more than anything, it just unsettled Ford. There was nothing about that was easy to adapt to, but not having your armor, getting the jump on you, already being pretty heavily wounded, half your hit points gone before you've even moved. Those were all pretty bad, but then seeing the sword and then seeing multiples of the sword and just wondering like who is this? What do they have? Do they have abilities? What am I missing? How much do I not know about it? And like I just didn't know. There was a moment where I thought maybe that it was Avantika, like come back to life in some sort of a sea monster.
What was she?
She was churning butter in my chest.
Can you look right
opening
my friend Greg over here and do that real fast?
Yeah, right here. Like this way.
That's pretty good. Yeah, that'll work.
So I think seeing the sword was a little trippy. And I think Matt said afterwards that it's like servants of Ukatoa have their blades take on that sort of rusted appearance, but the falchion in particular that I looked at was a little bonkers. No orb.
That was pretty interesting.
Because it's in my body.
Yep.
Apparently. Somewhere.
Yep, that's one rusty Ford now. Hey, it's time. Don't hold back that laugh. Don't you do it.
Don't laugh at her.
I'm not holding
You were
back.
smiling in a way that you were holding your breath, but you didn't want the people, you didn't want the folks at home to see you laughing. But you know what? It's time for fan art.
Turn on the week you scared the old dog.
This week's fan art winner for Campaign 2, Episode 98, was sent in by Morgan at Creative Blue.
It looks so cute.
Let's do well, like John Travolta. Adele.
Oh, shit.
Can I get a blacklight poster of this?
Yes, blacklight poster.
And Caduceus had some anger.
Yeah.
Counterspell. Oh, shit. Spiritual Guardians.
I said, look at Callison. He's furious.
That's
Callison was pissed.
He walked out and he walked up to me and he was like, "That is the angriest I have ever played Caduceus."
I don't know. I've rarely seen Callison angry in real life before. Usually it takes you have to kind of hurt someone he loves to get him angry. You know what I mean? Because he's been alive for so long. He has the thickest skin imaginable. You know what I mean? He's lived through more wars than we even know about. Man, he was very angry. But it was interesting to see a side of him. Also, that's why he played a cleric this time around, is to show sort of a different side. But anyway,
That was very cool.
thank you to everyone who submitted. Congrats to you, Morgan. You have won this Product Tabletop Kit. Now, for the people that get upset at me for smelling the tray because there is a disease going around, these are props. You do not actually send this exact tray that I am rubbing on my body right now to the person that won this contest.
Wow.
Right, Danny?
That is true.
Where does that go?
I take each of these home. When I DM, I have sort of levels of trays that I say, all right, I'm rolling damage against everyone all at once. I'm the Neil Peart of, boy, that's an obscure riff. Greg, you got that one, thank you. Anyways, critroll.com/.
Nope.
Submit. Poor Zach didn't have time there. But that's where you need to go if you want to
Still reeling from your Neil Peart.
That's how you pronounce it. Ashley, drummer for Rush, famous for having lots of cymbals, pieces of his drum kit.
Love it.
YouTube map of the show. It's a delight. He recently passed away. That's the lyrics. Thank you, Ashley. Well, you just gave away your karaoke song.
That's not my karaoke song. Very good karaoke song.
I know. Ashley.
Yeah,
Foolish McSmarty Pants wants to know.
it's such a great name.
Yasha seems to be a common target for some of the creepiest predators we've seen so far this campaign. Ikathon, Oban, and the far less dangerous but still gross Lord Sharp. Let's not forget your real life fiance. What the fuck? Anyway, how's she feeling?
Yeah, I think so much of that is in part because, because of the way I rolled the character. I rolled really low for Josh's stats, which was a bummer. But it's fine.
Give me about that. You and I
we rolled pretty bad. Yeah, but so I think she's very susceptible to, because of that, very susceptible to being swayed, as we have noticed with Oban and things that have happened in her past. So I think maybe that's something that she kind of just puts out there where people pick up on that, where, there's obviously still and probably will always be a little bit of darkness in her. And so I think people like Ikathon and, Lord Sharp and people like that, they can pick up on it. I think it's I don't know. I wanted to play a character like that anyway. Not someone that was susceptible to, but I wanted to play somebody just with a little bit of darkness in it.
Yeah, mix it up a little.
Feels.
It's fun as an actor too, right?
Yeah.
You want to explore a lot of the different emotions of the person versus just
Yeah. But I do think it is a source of frustration for her, and I think that's where a lot of the guilt comes from, because she's very nervous that could come up again for her, because it very easily could.
Yeah. Also, I'm being told, Kyle just let me know that Margot Robbie called. She wants her I, Tanya costumes back.
Oh, way better.
Way better. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Travis. It's the only thing better than getting Sam. It's the only thing better than getting Sam.
It's perfect that Sam was.
Yeah. Travis. It's me, Brian.
I'm proud of you.
Hey, bud.
Elizabeth Muses wants to know. Ford was completely accepting of Caleb, even telling him he's part of the reason Ford decided to be better / his real self. Now that he has most of the pieces, how does he feel about Caleb's past? Has it changed his opinion of him at all?
No, not at all. I think it's one thing, and maybe it's just me, but seeing how much pain Caleb carries with himself from his past, if he was flippant about it, that might give him pause. But he's so fucking tortured about it. He's suffering every day. Some might even argue too much that he can't harbor any ill will or confusion about where his heart lies. He's full of regret. There's a real person in there, despite whatever Caleb says about maybe being a monster. He's not, right? A monster is somebody that's like, yeah, I did it, so what, right? I think
remorseless.
Yeah, remorseless. Yeah. I think also, Ford is like, I don't want to be defined by my past. It really, really sucked. And I think I said it before, every day since I started with the Mighty Nine, since Ford started with the Mighty Nine, has been continually the best days of his life. And I think the same is probably true for Caleb. So, if anything, there's no judgment, because that doesn't fucking help anything. I think he is totally down to just listen, absorb, acknowledge, bear witness to whatever his pain is, and then just say hey, cool, I know you've got all that shit. I don't care, right? All I care about is what you do now and what you've done with us. And that's the person that I see. I see the person that's climbed out of so much pain and so much grief and so much tragedy and is doing these amazing things. You're moving forward, you're making positive changes, and that is everything. You don't let it weigh you down, you don't let it define you. That's heroic, despite what you think is monstrous. Right? So you can be torn up about all that stuff, but that's not who I see.
That's amazing. Caleb is such an interesting study in life, real, like, good, livable, enjoyable life ends the moment we decide to be defined by our worst moment. That's when life really ends for us. We can continue on, but we're an emotional zombie because we have chosen to be defined by this thing. You know what I mean? You as a person in real life, Travis, are somebody who, like you said, if someone's not flippant about mistakes they've made, especially ones that have hurt someone, there's all the room in the world for that person, right? And if you, especially if you see someone that's making growth, but if it's the other way, that's a completely different LP. If it's someone that's like, yeah, I killed my parents, I'd do it again too. They didn't let me go to science fair. Or I don't know what the fuck, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it.
Yes, all those parents keeping their children from the science
Well,
fair.
mine did because they didn't believe in science because of fucking Jesus or whatever. All right.
Yeah, I think like people that chain themselves to their past.
Yeah.
Obviously, haven't moved on from that past, right? And everybody's process is different, but if you have, then I think you're allowed to define whoever you're going to be after that. So I hope that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Oh my God. Ashley, answer this question, bro. This is from @CritNoms. That's kind of cute. Noms. We should put out a line of snacks called CritNoms, you know? Appeal to all of our critters out there. Ashley, we've seen a lot more of Yasha's sense of humor coming out lately. Is this new lighthearted side a result of her increased comfort level with the people around her, or a result of her increased comfort with who she is?
I think it's probably more so the comfortability of the people around her. It's, you know, like we all, when we get more comfortable with people, we are more open to sort of making jokes and having a good time. Yeah, I think it's just getting more comfortable with everybody. And so it's just, I don't know, if I think of something that I think would be funny, I'll maybe say it. But, you know, try to, keep it within, whatever Yasha's sense of humor would be. But it's been fun sort of exploring that side of her, because I'm still, kind of figuring a lot of stuff out too, and it's, I'm really enjoying playing a character that is a barbarian that's very tough on the outside, and I mean there are a lot of similarities to Grog in terms of just like she's absolutely a teddy bear on the inside. But I think she sees so much beauty in the world, because there's still so much of the world that she's seen with everybody, and as I've said before, I love playing those contradictions, but yeah, I think she's just getting comfortable with everybody. But she's always had a sense of humor.
But she's been through some stuff where it's not always the time to make jokes, or she's not in the mood to sort of show that side of her. Plus, like, unless you're me, it takes time for you to kind of like really warm up to people and show your sense of humor. I like to lead with the shittiest part of myself.
Just get it out.
Yeah, just get it out of the way.
Let people know what they're in for. I like to let people know what they're in for later in their relationship. One of the first times I ever hung out with Travis was in Las Vegas, and I almost got in a fight with a cab driver.
True story.
I got out of the cab, and Travis was like, "Bro, I need you to get back inside." And I'm like, "I will as soon as I'm done beating this motherfucker's ass." He's keeping us from seeing the Beatles show, man. I'm dying.
I really like this Brian guy, but it seems like it's a bit of a live wire.
You might have what you can call a pube of a fuse. That one.
Heard that? Going to be stealing it.
Travis, our final question of the night.
Oh, good.
And my apologies to Jeremy Irons. We have to bump you to next week. We don't have any time. Hopefully, Callie's available.
Maybe not next week.
9 Pirate Lords wants to know. In his conversation with Caleb, Ford mentioned trying to be a good man instead of someone else. What do you feel has become his definition of being a good man versus what it might have been at the start of the campaign?
Oh, yeah. I mean, his idea of a good man was banter, right? Which is like tough love, not overly emotional, not really available in that way, but conveyed a strong sense of leadership. Knows what he wants, is focused, is driven, seems stalwart, is dependable. A lot of kind of bullshit male ideas, really. Some have value, but some are just misplaced. And I think if you keep trying to live up to the idea of somebody else or what you should be in a certain situation, you're very often going to find yourself going down a path that doesn't look very familiar. And instead of trying to do that, he just said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna be me, and I'm gonna be me and see what that is, and maybe I'll like it, maybe I won't." And I think he probably lied to himself a little bit and go like, "I can change it at any time," but
at least it was his choice.
Yeah.
At least it was his choice. Because at the end of the day, sorry, he's got the agency. Yeah, and at the end of the day, I see all of you making a lot of these choices where you go like, but I just want to do it for me, meaning the characters. Jester's obviously doing that a lot in her upbringing. That makes a lot of sense, but it's interesting to see, yeah.
And also that's what if Ford is a good man? I think you can say very broad things, but maybe you just try to be you and hope that's a good man.
Ooh, that was good. I like that.
Danny's back.
I mean, I'm still very upset.
I mean, he's back.
All right.
Okay, friends.
That was a back here.
Thursday. We'll see what happens. I have high hopes that the party will not betray you, and that they will choose to.
Do you want to hear what my backup character is?
Please.
It's
Oh no! You know what? We're out of time. I'm getting the signal that we're actually. Yeah. No, he said. Well, maybe we'll do it as sort of.
Travis.
Do we have bonus features? We put this out on DVD, right?
Bonus speech?
Blu-ray.
Zach, this still comes out on DVD, doesn't it?
Laserdisc.
Well, that's all the time we have for tonight, my friends. I would like to thank Travis. I would like to thank Claudia Schiffer from the film Love Actually.
You saved it for the end, and it is
That was a
definitely the winner.
That was a pull.
It is totally Claudia Schiffer with Liam Neeson. Oh my God.
She is in one scene.
Woo! How?
It was 3 minutes on camera.
Oh my God.
You saved that.
Good one.
I Googled Love Actually Claudia Schiffer to make sure that, because I was like, is it Claudia Schiffer? I couldn't remember the name of the model, but I knew it was, yeah, so anyway.
It looks
That's hilarious.
Thank you for
Yeah,
joining me. Thank you for going a little long. I know we wanted to, but there was a lot. There was a lot of stuff talking about, a lot of deep dives. So thank you. 99, episode 99. Airs this Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific. Remember, in the United States, we do in some parts a weird time change thing. So for some of you in Europe and everything, the episode's going to be an hour earlier than it normally is. So I think if you're in England, it's like 2 o'clock instead of 3 o'clock in the morning. For all of you people that are crazy/loving enough to wake up and watch the show, thank you so much. Episode 99 airs Thursday. As always, don't forget to love each other. Stay turned, my friends.